I feel like this
he could try and depend on Nova. Nova doesn't really want to play around him all the time.
No, he doesn't play on the gyro.
Yeah.
Completely right.
You do go, maybe hold up, put him lane share. He's done here. But opportunities. Oh, no, we won't. We'll just die a little bit too fast. Finger of death.
I really feel like PSG.LGD want to utilize this Ravage. Like, you want to do something with it in this game. Sometimes the threat is better. In this game now, OG is not really respected.
This game at one-sided to OG's favor.
There's Thompson.
They're going to be
Ravage.
Thompson here with well, they're and it kills on him. Well, that's going to be the two heroes that and that battle. But like OG, he's being around some of these heroes. Change out and why turns around, but even though there's no game. Now Ame, who's just be playing, is now bottom. For an opening.
He's invis right now.
Ultimate way inside the trees. Can they find anybody gonna go for the blind slight fist?
They're pinging right now on the ground. Anna.
Finally comes no tail. Anna. There's no way they can go for Anna. You're right. They wanted to be able to use that. Don't use to be able to kill up X Nova. On expertly and Garrett.
And this is pretty bad for PSG.LGD because they rely so heavily on the Ravage to start fights for them too. Each other in these high pressure situations now. This is the third time.
If anybody's going to be able to see these kind of moves coming up from OG, it's got to be LGD.
Yeah, and it feels like OG, it feels like they're doing the same things that they did that made them successful in the first place.
Massive skill. Jarek is going to fall with that big rotation from LGD, though. Look at this rotation from OG. No skill.
That's real low, but
I actually thought for a second he was getting caught out by the Chronosphere. But he does jump away safely, kind of reading the situation in time.
And that's going to be the next timing window for PSG.LGD. Once the BKBs come online, what do the fights look like? Of course, that doesn't solve all their problems because the Chronosphere doesn't really care. In the early game, the BKB is so good against the Faceless Void, just because the time lock damage is magical. So if you get your BKB off, you're usually going to be okay.
Okay, so let's talk about like later into the game. We have this Faceless Void, and the win probability heavily favoring OG. Is this just because the Chronosphere is the be-all, end-all?
Solve all their problems because the Chronosphere doesn't really care. In the early game, the BKB is so good against the Faceless Void, just because the time lock damage is magical. So if you get your BKB lineup, the execution has to be so high.
Yeah.
It means that Anna has to hit like these 2-3-man chronos that consistently catch at least one core hero, that consistently catch at least the Oracle so he doesn't just get that hard save. Whereas for PSG.LGD, you have Ravage, you're going to get Blink on your Lion at some point, your Gyro with his BKB can just run in for you, your Ember Spirit can consistently just sit in the back lines, poke you with chains. Like that is easy ways to begin a fight. Whereas like Toxin won't do that for you. Seb's hero, he's very farmed, but Nature's Prophet by nature can't really begin a fight. He doesn't come with a stun. Sprout is nice, but it works. It's like, it's one of those abilities that it sucks early game. It's pretty good in the mid game.
Yeah.
Late game, it's kind of bad. And then ultra late game, it's great again because you start running out of things like Pulling Blades and Force Stacks.
Hell yes.
What do you think is going through LGD's head in a situation like this where they opted to go the double BKBs. You've obviously shown some questions about it. You're not sure if this is like maybe they're sacrificing too much of their game. Do you think it's they're scared early game of OG and want to make sure they're not run over? Or do you think it's more about they feel confident in their late game and they just have to weather through the storm in the next coming moment?
I think it's both. I feel like what they're trying to do is match OG's timing. OG is a very timing-based team. Once they get their 2 or 3 items, they just want to run at you and fight. I think PSG.LGD, what they're trying to do is weather that storm. And by going for the BKBs, you give yourself the best chance at actually being able to team fight 5-on-5. Because I feel like that's what a lot of teams lack, is the ability to engage OG on their terms. That's what we saw EG falter in Game 2 and Game 3 when they took that Terraplane and the anti-mage. They just never had any opportunities to straight up 5-on-5.
Crowd having a little bit of fun with this pause right now, as so are the players. And I love to see the fact that LGD, we obviously saw in some of the documentaries and such that it did get into LGD's head, all the chat wheel that was happening, right? There is a psychological element to Dota 2.
You don't think they muted each other by now?
And I mean, I like the fact that LGD is playing along. Whether or not they've muted OG and are just, spamming out chat wheel, hoping that they see it. But I like the fact that they're doing it just as much as OG is.
You've got to, you got to face your fears, right? You can't run from them. You know that OG's doing it. You can't let it bother you.
And what better way to do it with tons of fans and friends supporting you here in Shanghai.
I can't believe both teams, by the way, have made it back.
I know, it's just so insane because we always talk about the marker, right, of the first player to be able to win an international twice. And then the fact that it hasn't happened yet, 8 years of internationals, now on our 9th, the fact that it hasn't happened yet goes to show how hard it is to maintain that dominance in the Dota 2 field, that the competition level is so high that you just cannot be the best for very long.
I think it's because of the meta switches.
Yeah.
It's that, and it's the motivation. Once you won TI, you've won it all. And once you've gotten second, I feel like we had that second place curse for a while, right? Where we saw DC, C-Deck, this team that just kind of falls off a cliff.
Yep.
It's so hard to motivate yourself to think you were that close to winning it all. On one side, you have a team that thinks to themselves, we worked so hard and we came up short. And you have another team that says, well, we've accomplished everything that we need to in Dota. And the fact that they've been able to push themselves back to this level,
yeah,
both sides, they're hungry as ever.
I mean,
that's simply incredible.
The story with LGD, I think, is really interesting, where you have players like Maybe, who have been long heralded as this god-tier player who was kind of chosen by a lot of the Chinese fans and such to be that player that would represent them and bring home the Aegis.
Yeah, he is their champion.
Yeah, and I can see the motivation, I can see all the stories for them, but how does OG have the will to just make it through again? Back-to-back like this.
Yeah, it's incredible from both sides. Yeah. I respect the hell out of this competition. I'm sure they have a lot of mutual respect for each other. It must be so surreal looking over the stage and you see these guys and you think to yourself, here we go again.
By the way, I just want to point out the fact that we know that every single day OG has developed their own taunt meta, we'll say, right? Where it came with the sprays, now it comes with the flags that they've been laying down the last few days. They've been changing up their icons every day for OG, and has been just different pictures of each other from the TI.
Oh, they chose each other.
Shoot, yeah. So, for example, Jarex has that Thompson photo where he's pointing towards the camera, sort of like an invoker. That's actually one of my favorites. I have to imagine, like, these guys have been on this stage before, but having a pause like this, I wonder how much of a reset it bothers OG, who's a very momentum-based team, right? Whereas LGD obviously have yet to be able to hit their timings in their BKB, are able to plan out a little bit about what OG's next move is going to be. And it is kind of OG's it's in their court, right? Because they have this Nature's Prophet, and they have this Thompson Boots of Travel. They want to be able to outmaneuver LGD as much as possible.
So the one thing about these heroes, when you have Zeus and Nature's Prophet, is they want to abuse the fact that they can play globally. What you want to do is push in the lanes, force one hero from PSG.LGD to come back, deal with the lanes, and as soon as that happens, you find yourself in a 4v5 situation. I think in a pure 5-on-5, it's actually really hard for OG to win team fights, unless you get like some sick chrono off. But as a whole, I think if you run it back a few times, PSG.LGD comes out on top, which is why I think they took the Ember, because you have a hero that, because I was thinking about it, why did they take Ember over a hero like Storm, for example?
Yeah.
And I think the reason why they took it is, this is another hero, he didn't go Boots of Travel, but he does have the ability to simply keep a Remnant near his teammates, TP back, deal with the lane,
Be in
come
two
back
places,
in. And that's why he has to go for the BKB, because at some point, OG's going to read that trap.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, we can just bring in our Orchid Nature's Prophet plus one hero. He's going to die every single time.
Yeah.
So you have to get that BKB. It's not just for the team fight. It's so you can safely push out the side lanes. It's a cool meta that's developed in this regard. Like, that's why the draft matters so much. Like, you need some way to deal with OG's ability to just deal with the waves at all times. You don't want the waves in your face. That's how OG sets up fights.
So just like we were talking about how LGD is going to identify OG's win condition in Endless Faceless Void, how they're actually going to be able to start fights. The same's going to be happening with LGD, identifying how OG wants to move around the map and how they're going to try and counter that.
Yeah, I've watched their games. Like, I don't watch a lot of replays. I like to watch the games live, but these games I study like 40 times, the finals and their upper bracket finals.
Yeah.
Because I found it so interesting, like the mini meta that has developed between these two teams, like why they pick the heroes that they pick. Because they've definitely developed like an internal meta, anyways. They've extended their best of like 14 across 2 different tournaments now.
Bounty Rune's going to be split, but Ame will have the advantage of finding a double damage route. See whether or not LG wants to try and take a fight against OG now that they have their double BKBs, one for Gyro, one for the Ember Spirit. Thompson, meanwhile, he's got Yule Scepter plus Boots of Travel. Anna has his hand of Midas and is going to be working on a fast diffusal play, so he's not as reliant on bashes or chronosphere to be able to lock people down and get his damage in. After Seb finished up that Orchid, he's got a BKB on its way. So very fast timing.
And you notice that OG, for once, they're not just a straight-up 5-man. They'll just continue to poke and prod, see what the weakness is for PSG.LGD, and as soon as they aren't together as 5. And you notice right here, Ame, he's playing away from his team. This is the correct move.
Yep.
Always play away from your team because you have the ability to gap close and come in to help them out. He's going to get gone on at bottom for the time being. Balanced up, but
he's ready to try and finish off Seb. You use the BKB as soon as he thinks he's got Seb, and Seb's going to try and go for the BKB. And that was 1,000 gold for Ame. Holy crap.
that, and now he's level 17.
Oh.
He's level 17?
Oh, okay. Well, that's halfway to a relic already for Ame.
That's the same level as Zeus, who's got the XP talent cap, just context.
Okay,
That's more than double X Novas.
well, you can see exactly why OG want to stay away from a 5-man fight right now, because PSG.LGD, they're very strong between their double BKBs and their blink are picked up by the Tide Hunter. The worst thing that can happen for OG is trying to challenge PSG.LGD and get caught into a Ravage situation.
And this is why I didn't think the game was 85-15, because PSG.LGD can just do this. They can send one hero at all times, Ame. You'll always see him be the one to push out the lanes, and as soon as he does, the rest of his team can 4-man, do whatever they feel like because they feel strong, because they know that OG doesn't want to just get into a straight 5-on-5. And that's OG's strength, but they've gone for something a little bit different here.
Maybe he's farming really fast too. Like, even though he went for the straight BKB and not one of those farming items, he will have an Aghanim Scepter very soon. That's going to make this Gyrocopter extremely tanky.
I think these BKBs were more picked up so in case there is a team fight, but so you can secure these towers.
Yeah.
Like when you go for these tower pushes, OG, they're going to they'll see the smoke with the Zeus ulti.
How do you
active in the lanes fast.
Once you have that kind of play where you smoke up, you have an idea of what you want to go for, and something like this happens where your smoke has been spotted out. Do you adapt? Do you keep on going for what your original
I think you get
play
vision
was?
out.
Okay, you just use this moment to be a vision instead of fighting.
It's a little bit too obvious to get into a 5-on-5 situation.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just awkward. The better thing to do is get vision, because that's really all you can do. The enemy team knows that we're together, so it's best to just see where you can place wards without actually getting spotted out, and that's exactly what they do.
X-Nova dropping sentries all over the place, making sure, and this is just one of those really common, if you're Radiant side, you've lost their safe lane tower, you're gonna try and control your own jungle area because it helps you control the mid lane tower as well. So he's trying to find any of those observer wards before he actually drops his own ops.
Yeah, and it's actually FY that's in this top lane, so PSG.LGD should have activated. OG's gonna look for this fight because they know that this line can't come, and at best it's a 4-on-5. That's why Ana's looking for it.
Why do you think they sent the line back?
I'm not sure. I think they were actually trying to avoid the 5-on-5. And you saw for a second they were there as 4, and they're like, wait, the wrong hero is not here.
Yeah.
Anytime FY shows in a lane like that, OG's going to smoke up and take a fight. Anytime maybe shows in a lane like that, OG will smoke up and take a fight.
Yeah, because the disables are so effective against the OG heroes, right? Faces Void, you've got this Pango who can't really swashbuckle forward, has to just rely on Rolling Thunder.
I think that was a little bit of a mistake by FY, showing in that top lane. As soon as you showed in that top lane, it makes it really hard for the rest of PSG.LGD to beat down in that bottom area.
Now, Blitz, a lot of people are going to say, well, what do you mean mistake? Because nothing bad happened. We actually didn't lose any heroes as a result. Why was that bad for PSG.LGD?
Because I think they wanted to take that fight. I think they want to be in that bottom area and continue to protect their ward. If you notice, as a result of that happening, they instantly lost this ward down here at bottom. Being able to protect that ward and take a fight around that, because they placed 2 sentries too, you know that OG, they don't have any vision in that camp. Like, you'll win the vision advantage in that fight alone.
Yeah.
And being able to fight with vision is so important for your cores.
And now they're really fractured, right? As they retreated back, they naturally, like, some of them
this is what
their triangle, and this is what OG is trying to take advantage of.
Yeah.
They know, okay, they retreated, highly unlikely they all 5-man back to the same side.
It's a little bit awkward for them because now whenever you have to back out like that, like you said, I really like that point, it leaves an opening. Yeah. Naturally, somebody is going to go in a different direction.
You have to be crazy disciplined as a team to, like, 5-man back in that situation. Like, sure, if you're hitting high ground, everyone knows, back together, nobody TP away foolishly, don't let them get an opening. But, like, in that situation, right, going from jungle to jungle, naturally people want to farm.
Yeah, if you notice, the Ember Spirit is really close to a Sacred Relic.
Yeah.
And his Radiance. You have Ame that just finished up his Aghanim Scepter. Like, these guys want items. It's human nature. You're really close to something, like, just a little bit more.
Yep. And he will get that Aghanim Scepter because of the way he split up, but we'll see whether or not he gets caught.
Yeah, that's the scariest part about OG is they sort of ignore that in a way. They're like, screw human nature. Yeah, because you have this Nature's Prophet that's almost close to AC. And Toxin almost has his Aghanim Scepter, like, and they're just like, whatever, just take the fight. Yeah. The numbers advantage is too good.
They could have just, you know, like, okay, like, we've taken over our jungle, let's keep farming and such, but instead, OG is the kind of team that just says, hey, they've screwed up, let's take advantage of that. How are you feeling, Blitz?
Enjoying good. Oh, I love this series.
God, so good, right?
If you can tell, like, I did my homework.
Yes.
I watched the VODs.
Yep.
Oh, because I wanted to know, like, what makes these teams tick.
Yeah.
Why is OG as good as they are? Because I feel like LGD, what they're doing is, like, they're playing into it a little bit. Like, okay, OG is the same squad. That's no criticism of them. It's actually impressive, like, how well they've done.
Yeah.
Off of, like, this one principle of Dota. And it's like, you know, invade the jungle, secure the safe lanes out, push them out, force people to play at your tempo. And PSG.LGD is thinking, what are the counters to that? We don't want to play the same game. We don't want to get into these, like, 70-minute slugfest. Because I feel like OG, that's what they like. They like to clinch you, throw to the body repeatedly. And PSG.LGD, conversely, they're like, what's the counter to that? How do we deal with that? We pick up these early BKBs. We have a hero that can deal with the split push. Make it so that we can punish them in the 5-on-5 fights.
Since we are going to be here for just a bit longer, I want to tell you guys something about the atmosphere of this stadium. There's basically, there's 2 different big seating areas. One at the bottom, one at the top. And it is just packed all the way to the tip of the top of the stadium.
Yeah, it's actually wild how many OG fans came out.
Yeah, we had a decent number of fans right behind me.
Yeah.
But other than that,
No, there's everywhere. There's about half the crowd, I'd say.
half the crowd are cheering for OG.
Yeah.
They're just not near the mics.
Yeah.
They're just not near the crowd mics.
They're a little bit further.
Yeah.
They got some upper seats. Don't worry, guys.
yeah. Unfortunately, all the LGD fans are all at the bottom, and that's everything you hear. No, it's like, again, it was almost deathly quiet when OG came out. No booing or anything, but and I think the crowd is smart in that way. They want OG to know, like, hey, we supported you up until now, but in this series, we're definitely back in LGD.
Yeah.
Everyone's holding their LGD is invincible flags. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the brackets and see how OG and LGD managed to make it this far. It was crazy how many of the same teams were showing up in that upper bracket again, right?
It feels like deja vu. Last time, of course, EG, they went a little bit further, but things happen.
True. They got their rematch against OG in the upper bracket semifinals, just like last year.
Oh, this guy has no children.
That was a real heartbreaker.
Yeah.
Although this time around, they kind of got crushed.
The LGD versus Vici game, I'm a little bit sad that one went 2-0 just because, hearing them talk about playing against each other and what that was like. I mean, they said that LGD actually, was like, they really respect each other, right? Like Vici Gaming, they're a young squad, so they look up to everybody who's on the side of LGD, and now they're gonna have to ride all their hopes for a China TI.
Yeah. Wasn't it Fade that was like, he's like, my dreams to go to the finals against LGD, and then LGD wins.
And then crown LGD. Very cute. And LGD, I'm sure, is feeling a lot of that pressure of being the last remaining home team. There's a lot of little stuff in that interview. So I think it was also Fade who said like 22 years old or something. He's like, I've been a fan of FY for 20. And I think that's something about Dota in China, right? Is that there is just a bigger legacy to be had, right?
Yeah.
Dating back to the Dota 1 days.
Now that DDC, as you know, my personal favorite player in the world, now that DDC's out, I think I might switch sides to the Chalice train. I think that might be your new favorite. Yeah, it might be that or like Seb.
Yeah.
Seb was a talent. And then he rode his way
that was
back.
the crazy part. We worked ESL1 Frankfurt with Seb.
Dude, he
and
told
now we watched him win a TI, and now we're watching him in an upper
Austin,
bracket fight.
deadass, he looked me in the eye.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm going to make it as a pro again. And I laughed at him.
You laughed at him?
I straight up was like, oh, good luck, dude. I was like, see you next TI. I was like, hell. And then, what a fool he made me. And I'm so happy for him. Could have happened to a better guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was always a pleasure to be able to work with Seb. Just, a very happy guy all around. And I think it's also really inspiring. I think it was inspiring to a lot of people.
Yeah, Syndra's back there were like writing as many notes about what happened. It's like, what did he do at these events?
How did he get the motivation? Well, Syndra, first thing, you have to become a coach.
Yes.
That was the first step, right? It's just coming back and being a coach now.
We're going to get back into the game.
Back into it. OG versus LGD, game 1. We are 24 minutes in. OG have a 1,000 net worth lead. They have a global combo between Furion plus a Boots, a Travel, Thompson, Zeus. We are closing in on some very key items.
Bottom lane, they look like they want to make the play.
Leading out Zenko with his early BKB. Again, he worked super fast, so BKB had it about 23 minutes.
Match that tempo.
Last time he Ame challenged him in that 1v1 and he gave away 1,000 gold. Seb was just a little bit shy of the BKB, but this time he's got it.
It probably tips you off to the fact that you're the highest net worth hero in the game. When you see that 1,000.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You don't really know that information until perhaps it's a bit too late. Batting roots on the ground. PSG.LGD scrambling to grab everything on the bottom lane. OG did not get the chance to be able to punish maybe in his positioning, so he does pick up the Atom Scepter. And even popping the Shrine, even though he was about 3/4 full. Just gonna top things off, get some fresh fuel for the fight to come.
I love when people hold on to bounty runes, by the way. Let it percolate.
Why though? It doesn't do anything. Once you put it into your bottle, it's based off the time you picked it up.
I know, it's cool.
It's cool.
It's like you've got a gold explosion.
Guys, I don't have buyback. Someone use your bottle bounty rune.
Wow. As soon as he hits like 1,200 gold, he's gonna pop it.
Okay. It's gonna be that surprise, haha.
All right, they're gonna go for. I'd like to see him Remnant back, TP, help his team.
Yep. Deal with that top lane. It is a big push.
This is your job right now.
Yeah.
As Ame. Letting anybody else do this job, no. It's purely for him. Stay down here as 4 on the side of PSG.LGD. Stick around, let him get his Radiance.
Anna's kind of sticking around, right? He may try and go for the Chronosphere on man.
Yeah, they're gonna TP in with Nature Front.
He goes straight up the Chronosphere. The TP coming in for the Fury on just outside of it. Doom He wants to see what. Infinity jumps away. Picks up the fast BKB, and sadly Seb was just on the outside of the.
That is why
some auto attack.
It's not for the team fight. It's for when you go for foot pushes. Then you need to trade. And Seb, if he TPs on the other side,
Yep.
they definitely get that kill.
Yeah. And he was stuck in a situation where he was already TPing basically at the same time the Chronosphere was down. So he was like, I shouldn't really cancel this and replace it.
Oh, that was such a sick trap. Getting punished for that now, losing the bottom tier 2 tower, you can put even pressure. And this is the worst thing at Nature's Prophet. Once you lose your tier 2 towers, the potential for trading racks is always available to them. And because you have this Ember Spirit, it's even harder to just go for a 1-for-1 racks trade. Right. So if PSG.LGD feels stronger, they'll just go for it.
And they should be picking up the pace right about now, right? You've just got their Radiance. They know there's no Chrono.
And you go for it right now.
There's no better time to go for it, and that's why they're just trying to, they're not going for the kill at all, but they're just trying to push Chalice back, make him so he's low enough, he doesn't feel comfortable leading an engagement. They push out mid, which is going to make this smoke a little bit more obvious. They use the Orchid onto Ame. He's obviously fought the whole BKB charge as well. PSG.LGD, they're going to be spotted at Thundergon Square, just as we were talking about that mid lane push. Pushing Chalice back, pushing the wave in, makes that obvious. They read exactly what PSG.LGD is, but LGD still going to go for it. His Chalice going to wrap around with F5 behind the tier 1 tower. They're going to jump for it. Catching no tail. The Rolling Thunder is out from Jarek's already. He's going to hit F5 as well as the Thundergun's wraps and stuff. And they're going to be able to bring down one support at least. Chalice left in an awkward position here, but maybe focusing on that objective. And OG, a little bit skittish about taking the fight. They've got 15 seconds left in the Chronosphere, and that's why Ame immediately going to jump into the high ground. Hoping to help. Takes Nova out. He's going to use the ultimate there. But it doesn't actually catch Anna. They only manage to finish up Jarek. They're going to jump over the triangle where Thompson is sitting all by himself. No, the buyback with Jarek. He's going to try and help out more Thompson here. Use after on himself. Jarek just trying to stay away from Anna and all that physical damage. Corner just came out. The run to the spin, and Anna will finish off the Jocko in turn. Ame, he does have a lot of damage, so with that Radiance, can they chase down Anna?
Seb is still strong.
Change. Instead, going to go for the 2 supports here. He's got Seb as well as but he will get 2 kills for the team.
And that was the buyback from Jerem's. Fantastic fight from PSG.LGD. That all comes down to X-Nova's positioning. They all leaned on him while they were killing the cores with the backline of OG. And once you get on top of the Zeus, the team fight feels completely over.
14 to 16, 29 minutes in, and PSG.LGD for the first time in about 15 minutes had the net worth lead. No matter how small it is, they do have the lead, they do have the experience. The Chronosphere being used in that last fight as well, that's going to give PSG.LGD a lot of confidence to keep this going. They need Ravage, though, in 70 seconds. And
they should feel really strong right now.
Yeah.
It's so hard for OG to take a fight. Like I said, straight up 5-on-5s, OG will lose. Even with Chronos, OG hit a 2-man Chrono onto both cores, and it doesn't matter.
So X-Nova, there's a lot of ways that Oracle's trying to solve the problem, which is you put a target on. Everyone's going to try and chase you down. And a lot of them go for Glimmer Capes, Blink Daggers, maybe an Aether Lens to help with cast range. But here, because of the global presence of Furion plus Zeus, we've got X-Nova trying to rush an Aeon disc, which is a really smart decision, I think.
It also makes it so that if you get Chrono with only 2 cores, you'll never be focused down.
Yeah.
It just wastes more and more time from Ana. And I think for PSG.LGD, the longer the fight lasts, because you have a core that can consistently catch up to the enemy team and comes with his own stun, you're going to be stronger. Which is wild to think about, considering Zeus is one of the best.
Yeah, that is one thing. The only thing that really can stop that longer team fight going in favor of LGD has got to be Thompson, and that's why they've been trying to focus him down so much.
He needs a blink dagger.
20. That's what he's going for, is that blink dagger. Again, the Orchid, but again, Ame doesn't care. And in fact, he almost has an Aghanim Scepter already.
He needs to outplay them right now, Thompson.
Yeah.
Get the blink dagger. Figure out your positioning in two fights to be able to get in and out.
It's going to be so hard against the Aghanim Scepter, Ember Spirit. I've heard a lot of Ember Spirit players, CCNC in particular, I think, Gunnar as well, agree with this. The Aghanim is a bit of a trap. But in this game, right, it is meant for it. Trying to get on top of Zeus is like Ame's biggest objective in every single fight, and then Aghanim Scepter will do a lot for it.
Didn't they say it was a trap when you get it before you hit level 25?
Yeah, I think that was also another part of it, which Ame is closing in on 25.
Yeah, once you get your 25 plus the Aghanim Scepter, I think it's real good.
Yeah. He's already got so many damage items as well. Hasn't opted for anything that's going to proc off a slight fish just yet. But
I would have really liked for, in this game in particular, for him to have gone for the boosted travel.
Yeah.
Makes this playstyle that he's opting for a little bit stronger.
I'm a little bit surprised he didn't go for the Maelstrom as well, considering how, you know, the Furion with so many trans.
Radiance works.
Radiance works just as well, I guess, and maybe stronger in these team fights for him.
Radiant are
The
scattered.
Blink Dagger's almost here for Tops. And what else do we have? Jerix is trying to get a Glimmer Cape, I think specifically to help out Thompson, because they know how important his positioning is in these fights. Seb has his AC. And Anna, the BKB, as well as a Manta. 9-second BKB left for him.
I sort of feel like OG, they sort of have to go for a smoke, pick off the core, and immediately try to Roshan. And use that Roshan to get even more map control.
Yeah.
Grab this tier 2 tower at bottom, then diverge onto this mid lane.
Because you are going to feel like really good once you have that Satanic on
Yes.
fire, right? So
I think they really need to make that play on the side of OG. Go for some sort of 5-man, try to get the cores. If you can find the Ember Spirit doing this playstyle, that would be ideal. The problem is, normally you get one moment where you can trick somebody, and they forget about how they can die.
Yeah.
And that was a top lane. Maybe they can do it again. Ame, if he's going to stick around for the next creep wave, he could just out
100 HP. Can he actually live through with all this? They're going to be able to help out with the Nimbus as well as Jorgen. Oh, with the Manta, man. Anna just cleaned him up so quick.
Go Roche, go Roche.
Go Roche. Is this the opportunity for OG that they needed to claim the Aegis?
You at least have an opportunity to, if he did have buyback, you could maybe force a buyback, but as soon as they know that they're roaching and can't buyback, they know the Ember's out of the fight.
Yep.
They didn't go for a smoke, but it's the same idea. Get a core pick off, go into Roshan. You have to use this Aegis.
And how much of this is a feint from Chalice? Is he just threatening, hey, Ember Spirit could fight back, you got to get out of this pit? Or does he actually think they can win a 5 versus 4?
I don't think they can win a 5 versus 4, but they're trying to stall it up as long as they can. But once they see FY at top lane, they're going to just walk back into the Roshan pit.
Yeah.
They know this isn't a real fight. Sort of just buying a little bit of time.
OG are doing a really good job of making the most of this, right? With the push on the top lane, getting tier 3, the tier 1 at bottom, actually does all Chalice.
Yeah, what they're trying to do is buy time for the Ember Spirit. There's about still a 25-second window. Seb is now here with his AC.
All right, if OG was going to commit, they have to do it now. A 20-second.
Nice defense by PSG.LGD.
Yeah, that was so smart of Chalice.
Chalice just walks in. He knows there's no chrono. He can't die. He's got a pipe and a solar crest and Vlad's. But I do think the idea behind what OG was going for is the right play.
Yeah. And hey, if that play happens again, then next thing you know, you've taken the tier bottom. Now,
Oh, they're going for it now.
PSG.LGD, they said, you didn't want to fight us? 4 versus 5? Well, guess what? Now the Ember Spirit's alive. And we don't think you're going to fight us for this.
They got away with chrono too. 10 seconds left, so it is going to be up. PSG.LGD, because we've got this this Satanic, I think they feel a little bit too overconfident. They've got to be careful. If this Faceless Void engages, I'm just looking for the angle right now. He sees 2 cores for the time being. But both teams just playing around this area. Both loath to just give it up.
Roshan is getting so low, bit by bit, that eventually someone's going to fully commit to it. They are going to be able to get the pick off. That's going to start with FY. Now the Orchid onto the Tidehunter to prevent any sort of ravage, as the OG did get a little bit too close to that watermelon.
Look at this, Ana making his way up.
pressure to use that mobility to their advantage. You see Seth pushing in bot lane. This is an opportunity for him to take the tier 2. With no boots of travel, has a tough time being able to deal with this. He's going to run to bottom lane, but damage, a significant amount will have already been done with the double siege wagon push.
Seb likely to take through this tower. At least the siege dragons, they'll get him denied.
He's solar missed. They finish off the Nimbus. That's another 100 gold.
Maybe he's committed for this. FY's coming back right now.
Movement speed coming in just at the right time. Ame sees the opportunity to be able to jump in the back line. FY's stunned up to Anna. Now maybe is going to be able to get around, but Thompson being haunted down the ramp. But no, the blink! He gets one! He gets out with the shrine activated. FY might just be able to live. Jerry's getting a little stuck on the cliff, but it looks like FY does manage to live. Ame jumping back. This one will manage to find No Tail here. That support down 5 for 5. Now LGD trying to go back to their own home. And be able to finish up. He's dead. And now OG.
He does have buyback. He's got to commit to it right now if he is going to do it.
He does have a TV scroll up. He's going to commit now with a stomp. Ending on a 3. Can maybe finish this one up solo. He's going to be able to jump in. Throw the spear. Sergeant picked up there. Here for the spread. Down another shot. This time from the 18. And that will be enough for Anna to be able to get out. It looks like Seb. His life has been forfeited here as he's going to be chased down by Ame. Pops the BKB. Tries to go for the Sprout TP away. And he's fine, actually. Impressive play by OG to be able to bail out Anna and still get out. But still, a big win for PSG.LGD as they managed to just finish up Roshan just in time. I mean, the balls that may be there to say, I'm going to pop BKB and I'm finishing up this Roshan, even as Anna's buying back and trying to TP in.
Oh, that was so rough. I actually thought that fight was going to go okay for OG. After they went on Thompson and Thompson outplays them, Yule's into the blink. He dodges the Ravage. He goes right. The Ember Spirit think he walked up. It looked really good. And then Anna was never able to get his Chronosphere off in that engagement. He just didn't really see a good opportunity. He wasn't able to keep up with his Zeus. So they weren't able to layer their damage together. As we're going to see again, he drops the Chronosphere. He thinks about running in, but he knows that's a trap. FY, he's ready with the stun.
I mean, maybe if he had been able to time walk actually into the pit, he was just there a second faster. Time walks into the pit, gets off the Chronosphere. Sadly, level 20 talent just wasn't quite enough. I thought Seb was dead here for sure.
Nice BKB usage. Gets the Sprout just around his body.
And it's always tough. You've seen it time and time before. These late game Furions, nobody wants to be able to hold on to a Quelling Blade this late. FY and Chalice are the only ones who have it here. Oh, no, never mind. X-Nova has it as well. Butterfly up next for our Gyrocopter. And this is going to be some serious momentum for PSG.LGD. It's funny, though, that win probability still heavily favoring OG. And I think even after that fight, it may still be in their favors. Yeah, 66%. Again, the late game of the Faceless Void and trying to go high ground against that, as well as the EP, the Zeus, the mobility of the Furion. The list actually goes on and on how good high ground defense is for OG.
I still think this game is slightly PSG.LGD favorite.
Yeah.
I'm not really willing to... I think this game's straight coin flippy. OG's lineup, the way that it functions is if they do win one team fight, they're going to push in the lanes real quick. They've got the Buildster, they've got an AC, their heroes hit towers very well. But I feel like right now, PSG.LGD, they should win most of the team fights. It's a lot easier for their Ember Spirit to get his damage off as opposed to Thompson, who's got to play constantly on retreat. Like, he has to rely on Anna to get that Chronosphere off, and when he doesn't, you see how weak their lineup is.
So we have with the site ice being finished up by Seth. Ame is already trying to address that with an Aeon Disc for his own. So
they do have a Hexnap on Seth. That's a big item pickup for him.
So that's why he's trying to go for that Aeon Disc, because the BKB may not be enough anymore. He still needs to be able to address that split push from OG, even if they have the team fight locked in, especially with the Aegis on maybe right now. The They have to make sure they are not outmaneuvered by OG, because they've done that so many times in the past and so many times at this international as well. It's part of what their aggression, why it looks so good, right? It's being able to, first of all, put the enemy team in the wrong place, wrong part of the map, and then force that fight, a shadow play, or Seb just to help get inside the Vice off.
It's good damage too, and it helps him so that he can deal with these stragglers. He doesn't have to pop his BKB just to get kills. There is gem pickup almost immediately by Xnova. I think they're feeling the lack of wards right now. Like I think they've accepted that they're never going to get wards for very long, but they also have to take away OG's vision if they can. That's where OG's lineup is still pretty potent.
It's so hard against a Furion, right? Sometimes you just give the wards to the Furion, even if he's poor, and he goes out, lands some Jerix with his swashbuckle, allowing him to get to places that most supports can as well.
Yeah, we saw in the pre-game stuff of both teams used to such aggression, but this time, and they played against each other so often that they've slowed down the pace. They know that all it really comes down to is the team fights.
Thunder God's Wrath going off, just making sure that LGD can't really challenge for this bounty room. And that'll allow OG to be able to get 3 out of the 4, even against an Aegis. It goes to show, like, PSG.LGD are still going to be a little bit timid about taking fights against OG, especially as they're split around the map. The Rolling Thunder going off does manage to knock up Xnova with that why they finish off as well. 2 different kills like this would be massive. They do have Ame coming in, but immediately the BKB from Seb, they know 2 pickoffs on the supports. As long as nobody dies here, they're going to do a long jump in from the Aghanim Scepter Spirit, able to chase down No-Tail, but No-Tail managed to get off the stomp onto Ame. Ame could spot with a double damage, especially with Chalice and Maybe joining him in the mid lane.
And
So
the split
they will
push
trade
continues. Top lane, Seb towards bottom. If you can't fight it, extend the game until you find opportunities where you can.
Especially with these level 25 talents coming in. Anna has his with the Chronosphere AoE. We've got
I know there's no BKB, but no vision either.
Yeah. Those effective late game Shadow Blades. It's always tough for cores to carry vision.
Yeah, that's why Nature's Prophet, it doesn't feel awful, even though you can't team fight too well. Sprout is getting much as the game goes on. Your Shadow Blade will get a lot better because cores can't really carry around the gems or anything like that.
Yeah. Look at that though. The most Zeus's I see go for 155 arc lightning damage. It's so much considering how often you spam it. Oh, Sissy is That's some church bells hanging between his legs right there. Just TP's in, instantly BKBs, finished up the tier 3. Now Shrines have been unlocked, and eventually he'll take it with the Treants.
Look at Maybe's build, by the way. He's decided to go for the Basher because he's so tired of this. He knows they need some way to punish that.
With the Mjolnir attack speed as well, he's just going to be focusing on all of the top lane. They're going to be able to get the Aegis to pop here and takes away the regen while Ame being gone up. They do it here. It's Zep going to be able to get him enough damage for this. Oh, it just overwhelms Ame very quickly. He still, and I'm not sure if he ever will, be tanky enough to live through that Chronosphere unless he's got the Aeon Disc.
He didn't have a remnant far back enough. I think he was relying on the speed to try to outplay. Got a little bit lazy there. OG punishes their lineup. It's designed to constantly pressure the lanes, find openings like that.
Mjolnir, almost complete for Somnus. Got the 20 strength for the Pangolier. Popularly gets the hang ball up, and they're just going to try and jump, but quickly. That was buyback from Ame, and that's 2 minutes. He is dead for 2 minutes now off of the buyback around Roshan, and LGD know about that.
Yeah, there was no one near him. And it just decided to step forward.
And now Seb is going to do everything he can to try and force the attention to the side lanes rather than that mid lane where PSG.LGD is barreling down. But that's where Ame comes into play. He may not have that Aeon Disc, but he's going to play like he does have it. Jerix going to rolling in with his Glimmer Cape, the Invis Ball. Not really doing a whole lot, especially since they have the bitch down. They can do a decent amount of something there on top. Going to come a little bit too late. No damage being dealt, and Somnus can now turn all of his attention into the tier 3s. 80 seconds left for Anna's revival here. And PSG.LGD are going to have to hold the
point. And a Setsu team.
My bad, and what indeed his bad is that one little mistake from his name just cost him the game. Trying to drop the attention away from here. Too little to stop his death. No tails now here. 15 seconds, but the throne being just poked away by Summons. He's doing so much damage. 2,000 HP. 8 seconds left to point.
Such a tense game, and that one lasting judgment.
Yeah. This is what is going to determine the
Maybe you're usually going to be okay.
Okay, so let's talk about like later into the